My son came running to me crying, "The lady in my closet won't stop crying." I brushed it off until I heard it too, a soft, guttural weeping. I opened the closet, and there was nothing there. "You let her out," my son whispered. Then the bedroom door slammed shut. From the inside. I never thought I'd be the one posting here. I've read countless stories on this subreddit, often shaking my head, thinking, that's just someone's imagination running wild. But now, I'm not so sure. I'm a single father living in a small town in Pennsylvania. My son, Michael, is 6 years old, a bright, imaginative kid who loves drawing and has an affinity for dinosaurs. After my wife passed away 2 years ago, it's just been the two of us. We've managed to find a rhythm, a semblance of normalcy. About a month ago, Michael started complaining about nightmares. He'd wake up crying, saying there was a lady in his closet who wouldn't stop crying. At first, I dismissed it as a child's overactive imagination. I mean, kids see things, right? They have nightmares. It's normal. But then, things started to get strange. One night, after putting Michael to bed, I was in the living room watching TV. Around 11 p.m., I heard soft weeping. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but definitely there. I paused the TV, thinking it was coming from outside. But as I listened closely, I realized it was coming from Michael's room. I rushed to his room, expecting to find him crying. But he was sound asleep, his little chest rising and falling rhythmically. The weeping continued. It was coming from the closet. I approached the closet, heart pounding. I hesitated for a moment, then opened the door. Nothing. Just clothes and toys. The weeping stopped. I sighed, chalking it up to fatigue and stress. As I turned to leave, Michael stirred in his sleep and whispered, "You let her out." I froze. "What did you say, buddy?" He didn't respond. Just turned over and continued sleeping. Suddenly, the bedroom door slammed shut behind me. From the inside. I tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. It felt like someone was holding it from the other side. Panic set in. I banged on the door, shouting for help, even though I knew no one would hear me. After what felt like an eternity, the door creaked open on its own. There was no one there. I checked the entire house, every room, every closet. Nothing. Just me and Michael. The next morning, I asked Michael about the lady in his closet. He said she cries because she's sad and that she wants to find her son. I asked him what she looked like, and he described a woman with long black hair, wearing a white dress, her face covered in tears. I decided to install a baby monitor with a camera in his room, just to be safe. That night, after putting Michael to bed, I sat in the living room, watching the monitor. Around midnight, the camera picked up movement. A shadowy figure emerged from the closet, stood by Michael's bed, and then vanished. I rushed to his room, but again, nothing. Michael was asleep, unharmed. I checked the footage, and the figure was there. It wasn't my imagination. I don't know what's happening. I don't believe in ghosts or the supernatural, but I can't explain this. I'm scared for my son. I don't know what to do. Has anyone experienced something similar? Any advice would be appreciated. I decided to do something I never thought I'd do. I reached out to a local paranormal investigator. His name was Rick. He was in his early 60s, ex-military, and had this calm but serious way about him. When I called, I half expected him to laugh me off. Instead, he just asked, "You hear her too?" That question alone made my stomach sink. He came to the house the next evening. Brought a weird-looking machine, some thermal camera, and 2 small motion detectors that looked like tiny boxes with blinking red lights. I told him everything, Michael's nightmares, the crying, the closet, the camera footage. He nodded slowly, then asked to see Michael's room. When he stepped inside, something changed in him. His expression tightened. He moved slow, scanning every inch of the place. After about 10 minutes, he said, "This isn't the first time something like this has happened in this area. There's a history here. Turns out, before our house was built, the land was part of a psychiatric institution that was shut down in the 1940s. Fire destroyed most of it. A lot of patients died inside, and the land sat untouched for decades. When they finally sold it off, nobody ever talked about what happened there." Rick stayed overnight with his gear. I sat in the living room watching the monitor while he stayed in Michael's room. Around 3:12 a.m., it happened again. The closet door creaked open by itself. The same woman, black hair, white dress, stepped out, looked down at Michael, and turned her head slowly toward the camera. This time, her face was visible. It was twisted, not from anger, but pain. Her mouth opened wide as if she were screaming, but there was no sound. Rick shouted something from the room, and everything went black. Lights, monitor, the whole house. Dead silence. Then I heard Michael scream. I ran to the room. Rick was on the floor, gasping, clutching his chest. Michael was standing on his bed, pointing at the closet, eyes wide. "She's mad now," he whispered. "She didn't want to be seen." We called an ambulance for Rick. He had a mild heart attack, though he swore something grabbed him. I didn't sleep at all that night. I just sat next to Michael, holding his hand. In the morning, Rick called from the hospital. "I did some digging," he said. "There was a patient named Isabel Crane. She lost her son in a fire. They said she never stopped crying, even after she died." "Your son said the crying lady wants her son." "That's her. And the closet, it's a thin spot. A weak spot between, whatever's left of her and our world." I thought about moving. Selling the house. But it's not that easy when you're working 2 jobs, barely making ends meet. I started sleeping in Michael's room, just to keep him safe. The next twist came 2 nights later. I was in bed beside Michael when he sat up, eyes still closed. "She says her son is trapped," he said in this eerie flat voice. "She says you let her out, but you didn't let him out. She wants you to bring him back." Before I could respond, the closet door opened again. But this time, it wasn't just the woman. There was a second shape, smaller. A boy. He stood in the shadows behind her, unmoving. Michael suddenly gasped and slumped over. I grabbed him, but he was cold. Ice cold. Not breathing. I screamed. I don't even remember what I said, just that I yelled so hard I hurt my throat. And then the woman pointed at me. The boy behind her looked exactly like Michael. No joke, same hair, same pajamas, same everything. The only difference was his skin. It looked pale, almost bluish. Like he'd been underwater for hours. Then the door slammed shut again. Michael gasped and sat up, coughing and crying. He was back. But he didn't remember what happened. We left the house that night. Packed what we could, drove to my sister's place in Harrisburg. I didn't care if she thought I was crazy. I just needed to get my son away from whatever that was. But here's the kicker. The other night, while staying at her house, I woke up to the sound of soft crying. It was coming from the closet. We stayed at my sister's house for over a week, and the crying happened 4 times. Always around 3 a.m. Always from the closet. My sister, who never believed in ghost stuff, started locking her closet door every night after she swore she saw something move inside. Her attitude changed fast. She offered to help us look for a new place to live. But I knew it wasn't the house anymore. It was Michael. He was the link now. It got worse. One morning, I went into the guest room and found drawings scattered all over the floor. Dozens of them, crayons, pencils, even ink. All were of the same woman, over and over again. Some had red streaks drawn over her eyes. Others showed her with a boy, sometimes holding his hand, sometimes watching him sleep. Then I found one that made my knees go weak. It was of me. Lying in bed. And above me, that woman, standing with her arms stretched toward me. Michael had drawn my eyes open like I was awake, but I didn't look scared. I looked hollow. Like something had been drained out of me. I asked him when he drew them. He just shrugged. She tells me to. In my dreams. That same night, I heard him whispering in his sleep. She says you're close. She says you almost found her son. I couldn't keep ignoring it. I had to go deeper. So I drove back to the property, our house, and broke in. I know, probably illegal, but I had to know if something was still there. It was exactly as we'd left it. Except colder. And silent. I brought sage, holy water, all that stuff. But I wasn't really expecting it to work. What I didn't expect was the trapdoor. Behind the closet, hidden under a loose floorboard, there was a small wooden panel. I pried it up. Beneath it, a hollowed-out space, like an old crawlspace. Inside was a rotting wooden box. A name etched into the top, Thomas Crane. I opened it, hands shaking. Inside was a tiny pair of shoes, a charred stuffed bear, and something wrapped in old cloth. When I unwrapped it, I found bones. Small. Fragile. Like a child's. I don't remember walking out. I must have just dropped everything and ran. I called Rick from the car. Told him what I found. He told me not to throw anything out. That's the boy, he said. You found her son. You need to finish what she started. So now I had bones in my trunk. I didn't know what to do with them. I couldn't go to the police, they'd think I murdered a kid. But I couldn't leave them in the house, either. I drove to a local cemetery and parked outside the gate. My plan was to bury them somewhere peaceful. Quiet. Somewhere she might find him. I took the box, walked into the trees behind the graveyard, and dug a small hole near an old unmarked grave. As I lowered the box, I heard it. Crying. Not just one voice now, two. I turned around. Nothing. But when I looked back, the box was gone. The ground was smooth. Untouched. No hole. No sign of digging. Just earth, undisturbed. I ran. When I got back to my sister's house, Michael was waiting for me by the door. He looked different. Calm. She says thank you, he said. But she's still sad. I thought maybe that would be the end. That we'd finally given her peace. But 2 nights later, I woke up to a cold breeze across my face. Michael was standing by the closet again. She wants you to find the others, he whispered. Others? I asked. He nodded. There were more kids in the fire. She says she hears them, too. Now I can't sleep. Because I think I opened a door I wasn't supposed to. And whatever was on the other side, didn't all go back in. I started having dreams. Not normal ones. These were sharp, loud, and real. I'd wake up with my sheets soaked in sweat, the sound of children crying still echoing in my ears. I'd see burned walls, screaming faces, tiny hands clawing at windows. I saw a building, old brick, black with smoke damage, windows shattered, roof caved in. The old hospital. Every night, the same dream. And always, that voice, there are more. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I needed to go to where it all started. So, I drove to the county office and started digging through records. There was an old mental institution called Black Hollow Sanatorium, shut down after a fire in 1943. According to the reports, 37 people died. But the reports were strange. No full list of names. No real explanation of how the fire started. It was like they tried to erase it. But I found one name repeated, Dr. Marlowe Bain. He was in charge when it burned down. Rumors said he conducted experiments. People with no family would disappear. No one looked into it. It was the 40s. Mental hospitals weren't exactly known for compassion back then. I drove out to what was left of the sanatorium. Most of it was ruins, overgrown with weeds, graffiti on the walls. It was like the earth was trying to forget it ever existed. I wandered through the rubble, flashlight in hand, stepping over broken tiles and rotting wood. Then I found it. A stairwell leading underground. The door had been sealed with wood and rusted chains, but someone had broken it open not long ago. The wood was splintered fresh. Inside, the air was thick and sour. The walls were lined with rusted pipes. I followed the hall, deeper and deeper, until I found a metal door half off its hinges. Behind it, beds. Tiny beds. Cribs. Children's toys blackened with age. Names carved into the wall, over and over. Thomas. Ellie. Ben. Mira. Samuel. They were all here. Not physically, but I felt them. Cold spots. Whispering. The air humming like a low scream stuck between worlds. Then I saw something move. A child, maybe 6 years old, standing at the far end of the hallway. His skin looked burned, his eyes wide with terror. He didn't move. Just stared. Then another appeared beside him. And another. Soon, there were 10. 15. All of them staring at me. Some had twisted limbs, others wore old hospital gowns scorched at the edges. One was missing a jaw. They weren't trying to hurt me. They were trapped. I turned around to leave, and there she was. Isabel. The crying woman. But now she wasn't crying. She was screaming. Her mouth was wide open, face contorted in agony. She pointed behind me, then vanished. I turned back, and the hallway was on fire. The children didn't move. They just stood as flames roared down the tunnel. But I could hear them now, voices, so many voices, begging, "Help us." I ran through the fire. I don't know how I didn't burn, but I kept running until I burst out of that stairwell into the open air. I turned back, expecting smoke, flames, but it was gone. Like it had never been there. When I got home, Michael was sitting at the kitchen table. "They said thank you," he whispered, not even looking up. But one didn't leave. I asked, "Who?" He looked me dead in the eye. "The doctor." That night, I woke up choking. Hands around my throat. But no one was there. The closet door was wide open. The crying is back. Only now, it's deeper. Angrier. Michael doesn't draw anymore. He just sits and listens. Sometimes I hear him talking to someone, but when I ask who, he says, "The man who smells like smoke." I tried burning the house down. I thought maybe it would end there. But the fire wouldn't catch. I poured gasoline, struck matches, and nothing lit. Like the air itself refused it. So I ran again. Took Michael, drove 4 states away. New city. New names. New jobs. But it followed us. 2 nights ago, Michael woke up screaming, his eyes rolled back in his head. He said, "He's here. He's behind you." I turned. And I swear, I saw him. Half his face burned. Wearing a doctor's coat, blackened and crusted. Holding a clipboard with names written in red. He didn't move. He just stared. And smiled. I don't know how to stop this. I think I helped Isabel. I helped the children. But I freed something worse. If you read this, don't go looking. Don't go near Black Hollow. Don't open closets. And never, ever listen for crying. Because once you hear it, it hears you too.